Hey everybody, Adam Savage here from Tested with a little show and tell. I know I'm dressed for a one-day build, but it's not a one-day build. It's a show and tell and of a piece that's in my collection that is also from my delightful and amazing friends at Weta Workshop in Wellington, New Zealand. Weta famously made all the props and hardware and weaponry and armor and everything else that you could imagine for the Lord of the Rings films and for the Hobbit films. And I have, as you might know, I have several pieces from Weta Workshop in my collection, and I'm wearing a pair of them right now. I am wearing a pair of Weta-made Aragorn Vambraces. And I gotta tell you, these things are so beautiful, you can't even stand it. These are famously Boromir's Vambraces, as steward of Gondor, hence the tree from Gondor. And then after Boromir dies, Aragorn puts on Boromir's Vambraces and wears them for the rest of the films. It is a beautiful, very unspoken thing, how that bit of costume moves from one character to the other. And it's the way that Aragorn remembers Boromir and pays him homage and really keeps him with him. He keeps Boromir in the whole rest of the movies by wearing these. I don't know if that's a feature from the book, if that's an idea from the book, or if Peter and the whole team, Philippa and Fran and Richard and everybody, if they decided that this should be a thing. But it's a thing in the films, and I love it. And I've been slowly assembling an Aragorn costume over the years. And when I added these to my collection, holy cow, man, they raised the stakes. Because, okay, let's take a close-up look at these here. First of all, you can see they're made of 4 major pieces of leather. There's an internal quilted bit of leather, which is quilted inside and out. It is, honestly, this feels, I mean, it's not like I like the style of Hermes, but when you go into the Hermes store and you see the stuff that they charge exorbitant sums of money for, it's really beautifully made. I mean, you have to admit, it's really gorgeously made. This feels like that. It feels like a piece of Hermes hardware. The quilting is gorgeous, the weathering. This is, in fact, elastic, the lacing here, so it's easy for the actor to get on and off. These buckles are handmade by production in a very Gondor style. And then you've got, on the outside, you have these 2 pieces of leather. One is for the buckles, and the second is for all the inlaid leather work. And so you see here the tree of Gondor. You see all of this Gondor iconography tooled into the leather and meant to be worn over the sleeve of his jacket. It's a little bit loose on me right now. This is just, there's so much beautiful storytelling in this. You know, there's a lot of talk in Hollywood and around the trades after everyone started to go to 4K. It made the work of prop masters and prop makers, among the jobs of everybody else, more difficult because your stuff had to survive an incredible amount of scrutiny. Now, I haven't spoken to Richard Taylor or Peter Jackson directly about this, but my guess is that was less of a problem for Weta, who just does this as a matter of course on every piece, even down to the stitching, on this. It's just, everything about it is gorgeous. Everything about it feels like something that was made by people who cared. And the thing is about the storytelling that's in a prop like this, is that, okay, you can put in the iconography, you can have the tree, you can have the tooling. That's all totally fine. And that all communicates to the film. But there's an aspect that is less talked about, and that is when something is made by a real craftsperson, there is a love in the narrative that piece tells. And frankly, pretty much everything I see out of Weta Workshop, I see the same thing. These Vambraces were built by Darren Gordine, a leather worker from Weta Workshop. Darren taught me some of his techniques and some of the ways in which he styles the pieces he makes for Weta when we made our little film, Farewell to Arms, and we'll include a link in the description below. You get to see both Darren's handiwork and the real impressive scope of his knowledge in terms of types of leather, how to weather it, what to do. And again, these weren't... When you're talking about master craftspeople, it's not like Darren spent weeks building these things. He has to, as a craftsperson, come up with a way to build them in a way that is cost effective for Weta to be able to get something done and also make the money it needs to keep the lights on. And yet, if you just like drop these somewhere and someone else picked them up, they'd be like, who made these? What craftsperson lovingly put their heart and soul into this beautiful piece? Here, I'm just going to spin it for you so you can just see like that. There should be a word that describes a veracity past artifice, right? Like there's a level of veracity within this that feels deeper. And maybe that's why I love all the folks at Weta, because every single person there puts that kind of heart and soul. Darren is no exception, and he's not only a wonderful craftsperson, but also wonderfully open with his knowledge, like everybody at Weta. I mean, I know I'm singing their praises, but honestly, when I am holding on to a piece that originated from there, and I'm thinking about the fact that I know the people that made this, I understand the process, I can picture the room where this was built, the room where it happened. It makes me happy as a craftsperson, as a maker of things, as a storyteller. Every time I go down there to Wellington, I feel like I'm visiting one of the meccas of craft storytelling. And this is a fantastic example of exactly why I love their output. Thank you guys for joining me for this show and tell. And I'm now going to spin this here for some close-ups so that whoever cuts this, whether it's Joey or Gunther or Norm, they can cut this in. But frankly, they probably won't cut this in. They probably won't use this as overlay. They'll probably cut this whole part in with me talking about it. I have been told that my coverage is getting better. I'll take whatever compliments I can get, man. I'm shooting alone here. Yeah, I watched one of my old videos. I just I've been reworking on a space helmet, the Aces helmet. And so in order to reacquaint myself with it, I watched the video last night of the original Aces helmet build. And that was shot by Gunther. Was it shot by Gunther or was it shot? No, it was shot by Gunther. And man, it made me miss having a cameraman in here. I mean, not just because I like to concentrate on the work rather than the work plus the camera, although, you know, I've acclimatized to it. It's also that when Gunther or Joey are shooting, they're adding all sorts of extra wonderful story and pacing and context about the shop. I love the way they choose different shots from around the kind of stuff that I can't do because I'm working with my phone. I will say that filming, one last thing, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but filming all this stuff on my phone, my iPhone thinks that I spend about 11 hours a day looking at my phone. It's just, my screen time is just off the charts. I probably hold some record at this point. At any rate, thank you guys for joining me for this truly impassioned show and tell. These are two of my most favored pieces in the collection. And if I ever finish that Aragorn costume, well, then I'll be a ranger. All right, guys, have a great day. See you next time.